Russian President Vladimir Putin has, for some reason, given journalists a tour of his apartment in the Kremlin. Now, it turns out that this war criminal lives in a rather charmless and cold place, who would have guessed, with an ugly white piano that he doesn't play, and a fairly stark kitchen, and even his private chapel, where I assume he begs forgiveness every night for invading Ukraine and deliberately murdering civilians. He did admit he has urges to lash out.
Вы внешне всегда очень хладнокровный, сдержанный. Неужели никогда не возникает желания кому-то, что называется, врезать?
Всегда.
Всегда.
Я с этим живу, но я с этим борюсь.
Always wanting to hit people for what they say. Well, that's what you expect from a dictator. And it's not fighting that urge very well, you ask the Ukrainians. Joining me is the panel, Will Kingston, host of Fire at Will, a podcast from The Spectator on politics and culture, and Sky News host Anika Di Giorgio, now with her own show here every Friday at 5 p.m. Will, what did that tell you about Putin, that little insight there?
Well, the big scoop, Andrew, was that apparently he has a $400 Australian-made blender in his kitchen. I'm a bit concerned that we're providing the essential vitamins and nutrients to a dictator, but I guess that's globalization for you. Look, in terms of the video itself, not much. It was propaganda. With Putin, you never know what is reality and what is fiction. But why he decided to do the video, I think, is very interesting. And I think that reveals a couple of things. I think it reveals, A, that he cares deeply about his legacy. This was more legacy building. He wants to be remembered alongside Peter the Great as one of the great men of Russian history. But also, even though he is a dictator, he needs to maintain the support of the Russian public. So I guess in a very slightly, well, in an odd way, this was an attempt to humanize him. It was an attempt to show that he's still working hard for Russia. I think at one point he said he works till 1:30 every night. So it goes to show, even with these dictators and these brutal regimes, they need to keep the control of, or the support of the public in order to maintain control.
I even wondered, Anika, whether he lives there, because there was absolutely nothing personal about it. No human touch, certainly not a woman's touch there that I could detect. It was like a motel room for a single bloke.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. Which woman would want to hang out with Vladimir Putin? I mean, we can't deny that. When I watched that, Andrew, I just thought he looks like a loner. He's clearly a narcissist. Not that you needed a sit-down interview to tell him that, but between the piano that never gets used, the luxury blender, and the gym, I actually tend to agree. I think that they were trying to portray him as this man of the people, that he's a good man and he has some qualities. But the apartment looked cold. It looked white. It looked stony. It just looked really awful, to be honest. And really, it's just another vanity project for Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, you've got innocent lives being slaughtered during his ongoing war in Ukraine. It was just another narcissistic project from this dictator.
Will, the election, there's so much to take out from that. Look, one consolation for Conservatives is that it looks like Greens leader Adam Bandt could lose his seat. A 4% swing against him on primary votes. Green supporter Abby Chatfield, she's hysterical. Have a look.
If Adam Bandt loses, I didn't expect. The high is worn off, guys. The high is worn off. The joy is worn off. Now I want to cry out of sadness. Cool.
Are you crying a tear or cracking a champagne, Will?
I'm certainly not shedding a tear. Can I detour to Abby Chatfield, please, Andrew? Because that's not even the most loony clip I've seen from her in the wake of the election. She's a nutcase, but so many young Australians go to her for political analysis. It's extraordinary. And we've been hearing this conversation in America recently with Douglas Murray and Joe Rogan and Dave Smith talking about the merits of experts, or the merits of listening to people who don't really know what they're talking about. And one of the bad things about the new alternative media, and there's a lot of good stuff that comes with it, but the bad thing is it gives platforms to people like Abby Chatfield who do not know what they're talking about, but still so many young Australians would take their political cues from her. I think it's something that we should be quite worried about.